The Mistress of Nothing by Kate Pullinger. The Mistress of Nothing is an interesting historical fiction based on the true story of a Victorian figure named Lady Lucille Gordon and her handmaiden, Sally Naldrip. In the novel, Kate Pullinger describes the life of Lady Duff Gordon, who was the toast of Victorian London. However, she suffered from debilitating tuberculosis. During this time in history, there was no cure for tuberculosis, so Lady Duff Gordon was forced to move to Egypt, only accompanied by her handmaiden, Sally Naldrip. As the story is told from Sally's perspective, she is in awe as she is allowed to travel with her lady to Egypt. She states that her lady had come from Egypt to evade death. However, in Egypt, Sally had found life. After arriving in Alexandria, the two are in search of an arid, unpolluted climate, so they travel from Alexandria to Cairo, and then along the Nile to Luxor, where they finally settle down. As you can assume, transitioning from a European lifestyle to an Egyptian lifestyle can be very different. However, for Lady Duff Gordon and Sally Naldrip, it is eased in the process as they are enlisted the services of a dragoman named Omar Abu Holloway. The dictionary defines dragoman as professional interpreter, but Omar is so much more. Nicknamed the Master of Sweets by his people, he knows how to run a household, cook, and ease the transition for the two ladies as they slowly adapt to the Egyptian lifestyle. During their time in Egypt, Lady Duff Gordon and Sally Naldrip helped fight off a cholera epidemic for the Egyptian people, saving the lives of plenty and making a well-known name for themselves. It is also at this point when Sally discovers her love interest and lust for life, when her and Omar begin an affair together. What Sally does not realize is that Omar has a family already. In Egypt, polygamy is not frowned upon, and in Egyptian religion it is okay to have more than one wife. As their relationship intensifies, Sally carries and delivers Omar's baby. This develops a huge problem for Lady Duff Gordon, as she has not yet abandoned her European ideals, where polygamy is considered wrong. After the baby is delivered, Lady threatens to have Sally deported back to England without a penny or contact to her name, keeping her baby with her in Egypt. Despite Lady Duff Gordon's wishes, Sally proceeds with the marriage with Omar and keeps the child. It is at this point that Lady's tuberculosis takes a turn for the worst and she experiences her worst episodes. In a fit of rage, she discards Sally as her handmaiden, banishing her from Luxor, where she is deported to Cairo rather than England. She is forced by Omar to live with Omar's family and other wife and children, where she is looked after and their son is kept in good health. In the end, Lady Duff Gordon's fate is unclear whether she lives or dies. However, Sally continues to live and prosper in Cairo, but Abdullah, their son, is forced to live with Omar's family, where she is given restricted access to see him. In my opinion, it was very strange that Lady Duff Gordon reacted the way she did to the marriage of Omar and Sally, and also to the fact that Sally kept the baby. After all, they had abandoned their European ideals, clothing, and lifestyle when they moved to Egypt, and Lady failed to embrace that the religion allowed them to be polygamous in their marriages. The major theme I noticed in The Mistress of Nothing was family and being surrounded by those you love. For if you're not surrounded by those you love, life may seem worthless, tedious, and a struggle, and you may wish for death yourself. Some passages that I picked from the novel that prove this were ones concerning Lady Duff Gordon and her emotional state after she had to leave her family. Sally states that it was as though Lady Duff Gordon had died when she first crossed the Mediterranean, and her time in Egypt was a short of afterlife. This quote implies that Lady Duff Gordon must have died emotionally, as she had left her family and friends behind in hopes of benefiting herself. Another passage is that Sally states that she continued to visit Abdullah every morning. Seeing Abdullah every day was enough to keep her happy. Although in the end of the novel Sally is given restricted access, Sally's devotion to seeing her son proves that being around her family was keeping her happy, giving her reason to live, and keeping her from her own death. The story takes place in 4 locations. It starts off in England, in a small suburb of a town named Surrey called Esher. The secondary location is Alexandria in Egypt after they travel from England. The third location is Cairo, which is described as a humid but warm place, bustling with life. And finally, the last location in the novel is Luxor, an arid desert full of temples, houses, and a bustling city as well, but this time it's much more suitable. The main character and protagonist of the story is Sally Naldred. She is the maid for Lady Duff Gordon. Her parents were killed when she was young, and she is a strong-willed, determined, independent, and practiced worker. She betrays and distances herself from her employers, and suffers the consequences of her actions. However, in the end, she lives a lifestyle where she is happy. On the other hand, the antagonist of the story is Lady Duff Gordon. She has a status of aristocracy when she lives in England, but still maintains that status when they move to Egypt. She is learned, argumentative, adventurous, and charming. However, she suffers from tuberculosis and is very broad-minded and strict, always keeps by her European ways. Moving on to the author of the novel. Kate Pullinger is a Canadian author of digital fiction. She was born in British Columbia and went to school on Vancouver Island. What I found was very interesting about her is that she attended McGill University in Montreal, and after a year and a half, she subsequently dropped out to go work in a copper mine for a few years. She is the award winner of a Governor's General Award for her work on The Mistress of Nothing, and for all her hard research that she put into that novel. The Mistress of Nothing is told in the first-person point of view using words such as I, me, and my, and throughout the novel the Marxist archetype is portrayed, as the upper-class Lady Duff Gordon is always in control of the working class Sally Naldred. Overall, I enjoyed the novel, and I believe that it is an important novel for the theme that family is always there for you, and that you should be surrounded by those you love to make life not seem worthless, is an important message that people should always think about. Family will always be there for you.